Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we're joined once again by Mark Gonzales over at First National Bullion, and we are seeing the U.S. economy contract according to the most recent numbers regarding the first quarter as imports are surging and spending slows. Now, of course, we see obviously this trade war continue to some degree, and we're seeing numbers go up on that, but overall, we are also witnessing, as I mentioned, spending slowing. We're seeing a lot of these major retailers go down, which we've been talking about the retail apocalypse for some time. We're seeing Kroger, which is a massive, massive chain, shuttering another 60 locations. We've seen Dollar General going down. Dollar General, if when you see Dollar General, which takes over basically every small town and has destroyed all the small family businesses in small towns selling groceries, when you see those guys go down, they're one of the cheapest in this age of inflation. That's a bad sign. No different than McDonald's closing all of their American offices about a year and a half ago, which again shows there's a dip in people buying McDonald's, which used to be cheap. And by the way, it is not cheap anymore. It's chemical crap anyway, but nonetheless, I think that it's a very telling thing to see. Of course, we have this one big, beautiful bill, which is bringing in all this AI governance and AI monetary tools to the forefront at the same time as the Stable Act and the Genius Act, which brings in CBDCs and Know Your Customer laws. Well, they're saying that it's boosting wages and it's going to lower deficits. Well, once that money it gets into the hands of people that was just spent the trillions of dollars in all these bills that just came out, by the way, massive amounts of spending. A lot of it was printed. Once it gets into the consumer's hands, we're going to see inflation skyrocket even more so. We already see the Fed's Powell just days ago saying that the United States is entering into a recession. It never left. It left the last one, probably more like a depression. But then on top of that, boosting wages, no matter what you do right now, you can boost wages all you want. It's not dealing with the root issue of inflation, which everyone is being plagued with right now. So we're going to go into what all this means and more today as the U.S. economy shrank in the first 3 months of 2025, with the latest government data showing a deeper contraction than previously estimated as consumer spending lost momentum and a surge in imports widened the trade gap. So it will be interesting to diagnose this issue with Mark today. But before we do, I urge people to check that link in the description. firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ has to be that exact link. There you can avoid the CBDC system, avoid the digital system that is to come, and inflation and all these other issues by getting wealth insurance. You could buy physical gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. You could hold that gold in your hands, put it in a vault, or put it in an IRA outside of the traditional IRA system. And best of all, on top of all that, you can schedule an appointment for a free consultation with Mark Gonzales and a complimentary investors package. Just let him know that you found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, WAM, in the form on the website. Okay, so Mark, let's get into this. There's this contraction happening in the first quarter, not a big surprise. Part of that was under Biden, part of that's under Trump. But at the end of the day, we saw all this money that was just printed. The Federal Reserve admitted something they almost never admit, which is that we're going into a recession. And of course, they're claiming all this is going to be saved by this one big, beautiful bill, which is chock full of a bunch of stuff that no one was allowed the time to read. And of course, includes a lot of AI governance tools, AI monetary tools. All the while, we see the retail apocalypse continue, which shows people they don't have the money to go spend at the stores. And we're seeing people cutting down on spending dramatically because they can't afford to pay, $45 for chicken breast. Can you go into what this latest contraction shows, what it's a symptom of going forward with the U.S. economy?
Well, coming out of the Biden administration, going into the Trump, we weren't in a lot of solid economic and fiscal help, and then you almost had some immediate effect with the tariffs that are coming in to play in that first quarter contraction. Now they changed the structure of what is considered a recession. It used to be 2 down quarters.
Yeah.
Of GDP. So I doubt they're going to call it a recession, but yeah, Powell is saying we're going to have a contraction. It's not necessarily a pretty picture, especially when you're going into a low job creation and job growth market. So you're going to get a contraction, and then the raising of the wage with the big, beautiful bill, all that's going to do is squeeze the businesses that are already struggling to have to pay the employees. So you're going to see more job loss, or these companies just simply going out of business. And that is obviously the status quo of where we're going. the standard fabric of what we consider our economic engine, our brick and mortar, is to be destroyed, so we can go to this AI structured system of governance. And if the AI system of governance is in place, then how the hell are they going to let you avoid it? Like, you will be part of an AI governed society.
Well, Mark, we have the fact that Elon Musk is saying he expects most jobs to be replaced by AI in the coming years. He's one of the main people developing it. Trump just put $500 billion into AI, which again is going to count into inflation because they're going to be printing that money. And on top of that, it's not just taxes, my friends. And on top of that, he just made this deal with the Saudis and the Qatar government, and of course, weirdly with Syria, when Jolani in Syria, the new Al Qaeda kingpin over there, who's taken over from Assad, and they are talking about creating a total economic AI-based economic zone, and of course, bringing in AI to replace all these jobs. We are looking down the barrel of an obvious shift into that digital CBDC system. So why would they want to save the economy, and who would? Again, I'm not attacking Trump, but why? Trump is just a guy who's standing there doing speeches. I mean, at the end of the day, what's really going on in here? If they can trick him into bombing Iran, they can trick him into anything, because this bill is massive and includes a lot of spending in AI infrastructure, which would explain why we're going to see, increase in wages. Okay, but what about the fact that you're replacing the jobs and you're giving that to robots? I mean, it's crazy that we're even talking about it. We all knew it was coming, but it's crazy that we're now living in the future where we're saying the jobs are just going to be replaced by robots. I mean, what do you think?
Well, that's definitely the direction we're going. And when you see the crumble of the fabric of the economic engine, or the brick and mortar stores, and then go to touch on Kroger's going to be closing stores, and you're going to see a lot more of this happening. And then with rising wages, it's going to squeeze them blood dry. So where's your income going to come from? It's going to be AI generated social and carbon credit based upon a UBI. And that is ultimately what they want. So all this is coming together swimmingly, in my opinion. Yet, as far as precious metals being the only true money of this earth, and what you can have to protect everything that you've put in to savings or retirement before it's too late. We're still holding gold at about $3,300-$3,400, and we're holding silver at about $35-$37. So at some point, this takes off to the next level higher. Gold $4,000, $5,000, silver $50, $100, and a lot of people are going to think shoulda, woulda, coulda, and it's probably going to coincide with rising inflation, just because all these dollars that were printed, eventually they're going to come home to roost. And I would not put it past any country to do a coordinated effort like Project Sandman. No one's really talked about that in a while, where you have this coordinated dollar dump. And the one thing about inflation, for it to really start to hit your pocketbook, everybody, you need to understand, it's the velocity of the money. How many times does that buck exchange hands, or that unit of measure being the dollar exchange hands within a day? Say you're a waiter and you get tipped $5, and that's one. And then you put the $5 to an Uber ride, that's two. The Uber puts the $5 in the gas, that's three. The higher the velocity of the money, the expectation of higher prices, and it becomes a self-fulfilling engine. We've never quite got there, but I see us really, really on the cusp of that happening. And all it takes is for people to be squeezed a little bit more than they already are, and they start changing their spending habits. So instead of going to the grocery store on a planned event on the weekend to buy the groceries for your family of 4 or 5, or what be it, or even for yourself personally, you start to see that $100 becomes $120, the $120 becomes $130. So you outsmart the system. You start going to the store on a Wednesday or Tuesday. When that happens in scale, there's no way to put the genie back in the bottle, and that's how currencies all go to die and hyperinflate. So I would say start looking at some safety measures, and protect yourself with the coming devaluation and removal of the dollar to this AI system while you still have time. Because I've said this so many times before, eventually life presents the choices for you, and you no longer have that free will to make the choice or have a conversation with me. But I think everybody should take this to heart, and let's talk really about where you're at, where you want to be, how do you want to survive, what you have to work with. Is the metal stored? Do you want it on your person? There's lots of different things that we can do, but the benefit is everything First National Bullion does is the tangible metal.
Absolutely. We've talked before many times about the 63 central banks that are bringing in bail-in regimes with Basel III. And people will say, well, why would they want chaos? Like, I reposted one of our videos on YouTube recently, Mark, that we did back last year. And I wanted people to be aware of this, because those that didn't follow us when I was off of YouTube for 5 years, and I will be off again soon. So, make sure to subscribe on Rumble and BitChute. But what a lot of people missed was a lot of these major stories that almost everyone missed. I don't know of many alternative medias or medias in general that have talked about this issue. 63 central banks bringing in bail-in regimes, and people kept commenting, well, why would they want chaos? That would cause chaos. They need orders. I'm like, how do you think they're bringing in order? They bring in a new order. The new order would be digital based surveillance technology that would ensure only rationed amounts of money, and you don't ever own anything, and you are so-called happy, as the World Economic Forum says. And then bring in what they're talking about with China working on ways to bring down the US grid, and Iran is going to do a cyber attack, all false flags. But of course, that's exactly what they need. They need something like that so they can bring in the new surveillance system as so-called solutions for the problems they created in the first place. It's called problem, reaction, solution. Repeat, the Hegelian dialectic. So it makes perfect sense to me that all these things would correlate at the same time into a coordinated attack on your ability to access your money that you work so hard for. And then at the end of the day, push you into that system because you're desperate and you need to be able to get food for your family. So they push you into that new system of governance, and you don't have a choice unless you want to live on the streets. And then you'll really own nothing, just like if you were enslaved to the system with your banking system, with a banking system, I should say, where your house isn't owned by you, your apartment, nothing in your apartment is owned by you. Everything is a ration-based society, which is exactly what the World Economic Forum says they want to do. It starts with your money and it ends with your money. And I urge people to understand that the currency of the future might be digital, but it's also that I would call it compliance. Compliance is a real currency of the future. Your credit, your money is based on how much you obey and what will you have to obey. It's a scary picture, and it's something that they say they want to do. So I am not just saying some crazy conspiracy theory here. It's what they say they want to do. So yeah, they want chaos because then they could bring in order, and we could shift into the new system of AI governance, of technocratic governance, of the Great Reset, which includes digital IDs, which is and CBDCs and digital IDs are all coming out across the world in every major Western country this year. I mean, the European Union, Mark, is bringing in that a CBDC by October at the latest. Mm-hmm. The UK is talking about it by December. We have July next month, a few days from now, talking about bringing in digital IDs in and digital ID wallets in the UK and in the European Union. They're also bringing it in Australia right now as a global model. We went into that a few days ago, and of course, they are bringing it in Russia and Ukraine. It doesn't matter where you are, my friends. They are pushing forward with this technocratic system that they trained China to be a guinea pig state of for so long at the Trilateral Commission and elsewhere. So, Mark, people will act like, oh, it's fear mongering, but we see it before our eyes and they normalize it. So people don't even recognize it's happening anymore. Yet they don't seem to care much about the fact that, hey, in 2005, 20 years ago, a case of 12 eggs, a dozen eggs, how much was that back then, my friends? Compare it to now, it's not 5 times more. It's not, sometimes it's 10, 15, 20 times more in price. I was just in Canada for a few days having to deal with some visa issues. I was seeing cartons of eggs that were $27 on the West Coast. I mean, in what world is that okay? And of course, people act like, oh, the dollar, you've been saying it's going to crash for a long time. It is crashing. That's why we see this. It's not something that happens overnight. It happens over years, and we see the results of it. And I just wish that people understood what was coming. I have a lot of friends that live in Venezuela or are from Venezuela, and they saw everyone get called crazy if they dared to warn about it years ago as well. And we know what happened next. Mark, how secure are people getting involved with firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ I want to make sure that I give everyone that exact link again, because it has to be that exact link. When you go there, how secure are people with all this? People will always ask, oh, well, there's a lot of gold companies out there and I don't trust a lot of them, and I don't blame you guys. I wouldn't either. I know you're awake. You've been doing this for a long time. Why are people secure going with firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/? Make sure to use that link versus other gold companies.
Well, I think it comes down to experience. We've been in business going on 20 years. There are now currently 5 physical store locations in 2 states. We have clients and presence worldwide. So if something was not right with our structure or our company, I think it would be exposed by now, and it just simply isn't. But I think the biggest caveat that I can say with get in touch with me and working with me directly is I've been doing this for a very long time, and I'm very in tune with what exactly is coming. And I don't mind taking the time to make sure you see clearly exactly what is about to be upon us. and what we can do about it. The solutions, I think, are a lot easier than what people anticipate. It can be pretty fearful, especially when you're looking at the digital AI system. And to your point, a lot of people calling us crazy. I mean, I first started hearing now about the digital currency removing cash back in 2011, and the talk was for negative interest rates. And I started talking about it back then when the European Union was publishing papers on it, and a lot of people thought we were crazy. And guess what? Here we are. European Union October will have their central bank digital currency, and we will as well this year. So not so crazy anymore. And it's just a matter of time before these chaos events take place, because then you're knocked on your heels. You're not coming from a place of logic or reasoning or strength. They're coming from a place of weakness and fear. And that's exactly the gameplay to get going. And let's not forget that we're coming into July. So you got the BRICS having their summit.
Yeah.
In this summit, what we anticipate, what we've been told, let's find out exactly what it transpires. But we're supposed to be told on how gold is going to be intertwined in the new BRICS trade system and their currency. We already know that it's going to be intertwined, but we're going to get a breakdown, or at least anticipate getting a breakdown. So this stuff is game changing. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen on that. And again, right now, everything seems fairly quiet in the gold market. Silver's jumped above that $35 range that I told you was key, and it actually tested that support at 35.08 on Tuesday, and it held. It held strong. And now we're going to break through 37. We do that, you're probably going to see 38, $40. So everything I've said is starting to happen. It's just as the timeline, no one really knows. But you let another month, 2 months go by, and then you look behind you and think, well, shit, I could have got silver at 35. I could have got silver at 37, as opposed to $50. So take the time, reach out. Let's have a conversation. I'll let you be the judge if I'm the person for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I urge people to go and check that out. And of course, check your junk mail just in case he responds back and you don't see it. Because, of course, in this age of censorship, there's some strange forms of censorship now through emails and through phones where people just can't get a hold of people for various reasons. Another reason why we shouldn't be trusting this digital system, and it hits us from many different angles and different tiers. And I urge people to go and actually check out that link and get involved and save your money today. Again, this isn't about just advertising. It's about giving you guys solutions. I mean, I've been offered $1 million to go with networks and just blab on all day for what they want me to talk about. It's not about money. It's about actually getting you guys set up with something that keeps you guys safe going forward and keeps you guys with your finances, not controlled by them, but in charge of them. And this is important. So go to firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/. And again, it has to be that exact link, or else you're going to end up talking to someone else other than Mark. So make sure you use that end part so you can talk with Mark, and that way you'll get that deal. You'll schedule an appointment for a free consultation with Mark and a complimentary investors package. Just let him know again in the comments of the forum that he found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, WAM. And I know that you guys are not going to regret it going forward. This is something that allows you to have peace of mind going forward in the face of a very ugly time in human history. We all see it, we all feel it, and it's not like it's going away anytime soon. I do believe good overcomes evil eventually, but you have to shelter from the storm before the storm comes. You don't wait until the lightning strikes to be able to, protect yourself. So again, the options are in the description of the video. Go over there, click that link, sign up with them, work with them, schedule a call. Even if you're not 100% sure, and if you're still on the fence about it, it's worth having a call. It's worth having a conversation. So go and check that out. And anyway, I appreciate it as always. You bringing the insights to us. We have a lot to go into, and we're going to be doing some more on some of these big stories coming up right away, including this BRICS summit, because we really need to do something, a breakdown of where this is going with that as well, Mark. So we'll have to do that right away. But anyway, I appreciate you going into this with us. And until next time, my friends, check those links below. Live freely, live by example. This is Josh Sigurdson and Mark Gonzales signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.